I just had a moment of internalized misogyny, and I thought I would share it with you. Slight backstory, obviously. I'm a woman and I'm a mother, so that means that Christmas is my job, has been my job since I was 18 years old, right? When I had my first child, it was my job to provide a good Christmas for my children and for my partner and whatever. So presents, food, all of that jazz.
Wow! That's amazing!
'Tis the season to be incredibly bitter and jaded with the modern wife as she goes and tries to claim Christmas as yet another excuse for her martyrdom. Now, I have my sincere doubts that this woman is actually doing all of the holiday work herself. That's not to say she's not doing any, but it's kind of unrealistic to just assume that she's doing everything while her partner is doing nothing. But that's par for the course for a miserable feminist housewife. She's already rigged the Christmas game so that no matter what her husband does, he's never in the right. Anything that he does do right doesn't count because it's supposed to be part of the bare minimum, while everything she does is worthy of a golden statue encrusted with jewels and served up to her by a Giga Chad. And even if he was doing things right, it doesn't matter because she's doing the more important work because apparently you're able to keep score that way. But I will give this broad credit insofar because she is adhering to the sacred holiday tradition known as making everyone else around you as miserable as humanly possible.
Now, over the years, as I've developed and changed, I've recognized that's a lot of labor for one person to do. And my partner has also recognized that and is actively trying to unlearn the things that make him think that I'm naturally better at it. So one of the things that he's been doing over the last couple of years is dabbling in buying people presents. Sounds ludicrous, I know, he's 44 years old, but you know, society is what it is. And he has purchased 2 presents for our friends, right? Outside of me. I didn't know about the first one at all. I actually don't know about the second one either. I don't know what they are. And we were sitting in bed having a chat, and he was like, "Oh, don't forget, you can add the present for so-and-so onto your list." And I was like, "Oh no, but you got them that. They should know that it's from you." And he said, "But when you buy them presents, they know that it's from me, right? They know that it's from everybody. So why should I get the credit for buying a present?" And I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I just internalized misogyny myself.
What does that even mean?
So your husband went and bought some gifts for some mutual friends, and he wants to make sure that you have your name on the gift so that everybody knows it's from the family. Okay, that sounds pretty normal, like lots of people do that. So I guess I'm failing to see something on 2 different fronts here. First, I'm failing to see how this is misogynistic, and second, I'm still not sure how you're able to take the word misogyny and turn it into a verb. I mean, we already know that no matter what this guy does, he's always going to be in the wrong because you just accused him of being evil for buying presents for other people at the age of 44. Like, what does that have to do with misogyny? Sounds like he's just doing the Christmas tradition of buying presents. What he's doing is literally no big deal at all. It's not even a little deal. Just throw your name on the present and just be done with it. But no, we can't have that because you believe, as the ball breaker in chief, that you have the right to crap over everything that this man does for virtually no reason.
Like, he should get more credit than me. He should be seen to be doing better. He should be, look at this man that's gone out and bought you a present independently of his partner, of his woman partner. He's gone and bought you. You need to know how great this man is. Fuck's sake. It's so insidious. It's so insidious. I've been buying presents for my friends, his friends, parents, kids, wrapping them, whatever, for years and putting his name on them, right? And putting my first husband's name on them too. And I'm like, no, you should get all the credit for this present.
I must have missed 60 minutes. What are you saying?
Translation, I hate my husband. He's not the type of man I believe I deserve. He's going out there and trying to do all these nice things for the holidays, and I can't stand it. If I'm not being a victim on every single aspect of life, then my life is completely meaningless. So in a vain attempt to try to make my life look a lot harder than it actually is, I'm gonna go on the internet and tell this story to make my husband look as bad as humanly possible. As a modern wife living in the modernized first world with all sorts of conveniences, I still need a reason to complain in order to give my life some meaning. So I'm gonna take this incredibly bland and uninteresting story and turn it from a nothing burger into a fight against the patriarchy. And thanks to the meaningless platitudes that I've been force-fed on TikTok for the last couple of decades, I have absolutely no problem shaming my husband over this, even though he technically didn't do anything wrong. But that doesn't matter, because if I can't be happy on the holidays, then nobody can be happy. On a scale of 1 to 10, how close am I?
10.
Genuinely makes me sad there are no cute single guys in my neighborhood, okay? I have no cute single male neighbor to enjoy the fantasy with, okay? And when I go to the community pool, looking like this, and I'm feeling myself today, so haters, I have no one to show off to except these lovely old ladies are like, oh my God, I remember when I was your age. I'm like, do you have a son? Do you have a son? Let me know, because I'm not gonna be young forever. Damn.
A smelly fish.
And it's not a cod.
Woman, we already know that you have a boyfriend who's filming you right now, so your problems on Christmas really do amount to how much money you're making and not to whether or not you can find a guy. It's obvious. Besides, most of us in Sector Sigma, we've got bigger problems to deal with.
And now, a special television event.
You know, the universe isn't as big as people think. Yeah, we have tens of thousands of planets out there, chock full of different creatures with different languages, cultures, and poetry revolving around waterfalls and interstellar warfare, but at the same time, you'd be surprised how much we all have in common. Like, take the outfield, for example. There's actually 5 planets that have been locked in a geopolitical religious battle over the lyrics of Use Your Love Tonight that still rages on to this day. Even when Oregon lumberjack abductees told the High Council of Josie's Avengers that the song was clearly about infidelity, the council refused to believe it. They probed these poor bastards purely out of spite and then kicked them back down to lumber country with wiped memories and an inexplicable disdain for 1980s pop rock. The point is that despite our differences, there are several things that we actually do have in common. Take the holiday season, for example. Sector Sigma's love for the celebration of the Yuletides outmatches your planet in almost every capacity. You think your Black Friday shoppers are crazy? In Sector Sigma, retail employees are forced to take a 3-month mandatory unpaid training seminar where they learn the basics of tank warfare in order to have a slight chance of defending themselves against the hordes of heavily armed deal seekers on that fateful day. And yes, as they're unleashing plasma-based hellfire onto those who have nothing better to do with their money, they are still forced to do so while listening to an endless loop of Last Christmas by Taylor Swift. But in Sector Sigma, there is no tradition more sacred than the holiday office party. You know the type. People being forced to stay at work after hours, eating lukewarm pizza and spending time with coworkers that they never wanted to talk to when they're on the clock, and hear an impassioned speech from their regional managers as they use metaphors and vague sentiments to hint that despite their tripled workload, they will be receiving no Christmas bonuses. Nobody really likes the tradition, nobody wants to observe the tradition, but we all do it because of Sector Sigma's slogan for the most wonderful time of the year, it's Christmas. Let's just get the bullshit over with. Which is exactly what I was doing at the mandatory Bounty Hunters office holiday party. They went all out this year. They rented out an abandoned office complex, and we were all hanging out in a musty smelling floor surrounded by empty cubicles and broken dreams. All of the members of the Bounty Hunters Guild were filed into the building and the doors were locked behind us. The mandatory festivities had begun. We were eating lower middle shelf chocolate chip cookies and pretending to care about other people's holiday plans and just waiting for the doors to open so we could make it back to a place with actual internet coverage. Now, if there was anything good to be had with this mandatory office holiday party, it was the nog. Let me tell you about this stuff. Much like other nogs, we have no idea where it comes from or what it actually even is, but let me tell you, this magical elixir is the only thing that makes holiday parties bearable. I mean, this is some really good nog we're talking about here. It's so good, it helps to keep your sanity during the obligatory 2 hours of office karaoke as the office manager performs a drunken rendition of Pour Some Sugar on Me as he bravely takes his place as the annual martyr to the Human Resources Department. And as we all reach for the sacred ladle to receive our annual ration ration of the nog, we filled our glasses and drank deeply, and much like any other holiday party, we were hit with a massive letdown. For it wasn't nog that was in our cups, but rather week-old fermented reindeer milk. And this pissed people off something fierce, because there's one thing you don't do in Sector Sigma, and that is you don't screw with another man's annual ration of nog. And we looked all over the place, and what did we finally see? Why, it was none other than that rat bastard Cody, right next to the karaoke machine, and he was sitting on 5 kegs of our sacred nog. And to add insult to injury, that jagoff had rigged the kegs with dynamite and was just itching for an excuse to detonate. Now, Cody's terms were relatively simple. He wanted the bounty hunters to hawk his exclusive brand of re-evaporated milk, which is a lot like evaporated milk, except he evaporated it twice. Now, we all thought this was a stupid idea, but even if it wasn't, we didn't care. Cody crossed the line the second he decided to take our sacred nog hostage, and he was not willing to listen to reason, and we weren't willing to allow our nog to get caught in the crossfire. So we were stuck in a standoff that was going to last a hell of a lot longer than the office party should ever have to last. And when it seemed like all hope was lost, the doors swung open to reveal some much needed hope for the holiday season. And it came in the form of Duke Theodore Octavio Graca. He just strutted in as if he owned the place, armed with a pipe wrench and a hunger for justice. Now, one thing you should know about the Duke is that he is a man of many talents. Outside his ability to wholesale plumbing parts factory direct at no extra cost to you, he's also a wrench-throwing champion. But not just any champion, this man was trained by Skeeter himself, thereby making him the universe's deadliest man when armed with a pipe wrench. Now, he could have easily just swung the wrench and shattered Cody's chiseled jawline, but that would have been too easy and unsportsmanlike. The Duke had something a little bit more elegant in mind. He took aim with his wrench and aimed at the bowl of fermented reindeer's milk. Now, we all knew what he was getting at. If he tossed that wrench, it would not only make for one hell of a mess, but the resulting fallout would send forth a massive resonance frequency that would reach planets that were millions of light years away, and this frequency would be so powerful it could change the genetic code of reindeer to get them to stop producing milk, thus dooming the reindeer species to extinction. And yes, this is a power that could only be held by a wrench-wielding Duke Theodore Octavio Graca. Now, Cody took one look at the Duke and knew that he wasn't bluffing. The Duke's threat would have cut into Cody's profit margin by a minimum of 8%, so he decided there would be no nog this year as he motioned to detonate the explosive. And as he motioned to detonate the explosives, who swooped in but none other than Oli Ray, the most dangerous man in the universe. Oli Ray was in the cosmic neighborhood, just moonlighting as a Katorshi shark tamer when he got word that Cody was back to his old tricks and holding a bunch of nog hostage. This was an incredibly dangerous move, and also pretty stupid. And if there's one thing you know about Oli Ray, he's not one for sharing his titles with anybody, especially not for a jackass like Cody. He wordlessly walked in from the shadows, a standard issue office stapler clenched in his fist. Now, to the untrained eye, a stapler doesn't seem like it can do that much damage. But for those of you who think that way, you either haven't seen the movie Office Space or dealt with a man like Oli Ray. When the most dangerous man in the universe is holding something, that item instantly becomes the most dangerous item in the known universe, and this is just standard science fact. And before Cody could do anything, Oli Ray tossed the stapler into the air, and with a roundhouse kick that would have made Chuck Norris himself blush, he kicked that stapler right at the explosives and hit the wiring with such surgical precision, it disarmed the bombs and not only stole Cody's leverage over us, but also his dignity in the process. Cody took one gulp of fear and ran away with his tail stuck between his legs, but not before taking the keg tap with him as an underhanded way to try to get back at us. Oli Ray just walked up to the kegs and took the bombs for himself as a payment for a good deed, and helped to bring the office festivities back to life so that everybody could get into the holiday spirit by getting the bullshit over with. The Duke took his pipe wrench and with the most gentle of taps, freed the holiday nog from its metal prison. Such was the secret talent of the Duke Theodore Octavio Graca. Oli Ray went back to his space cruiser with the bombs and said that he had some crazy-ass plans to make one of the greatest water slides the universe has ever seen. Knowing Oli Ray, that water slide is going to be just as awesome as it is dangerous. So there we all stood with glasses of nog filled to the brim, and we toasted each other to yet another victory against the diabolical schemes of Cody. Because if there's one thing that Cody will never understand, it's that there's only one thing that's more sacred than the consumption of Yuletide nog, and that is the bond that brothers share when it comes to dealing with the formalities of the holiday season, and there's nothing that can break it, especially when it comes to refusing to sell the milk of an intergalactic jagoff like Cody. This exciting installment of the Cody's Milk Saga was brought to you thanks to the generosity of Oli Ray and Teodoro Octavio Graca, two certified gents whose support of the bounty board over on Patreon is something that brings a tear to the eye of the intergalactic space god Trip Norligard, all hail, and makes my cynical heart beat with pride and gratitude. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I hope this story finds you well this holiday season. And of course, I also want to extend my personal gratitude to the members of the bounty board over on Patreon, whose continued support is keeping this channel going into the new year. Gentlemen and gents, your support is the stuff of legend. All hail! And if you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the bounty board over on Patreon, where I create content just like this for you to enjoy. I post twice a week with unique stories from the Lockverse, video games, movie reviews, conspiracy theories, and more. It's a great way to support the channel at a low price, and I hope I've earned your membership today. The link is in the pinned comment down below. Now back to the festivities.
The magic of the holidays is really the unpaid and unappreciated labor of women. This man said that he didn't fill his wife's stocking for 10 years. Imagine if she dropped the ball for 10 years, if she just forgot, if it just never crossed her mind that, oh, I need to get presents for my loved ones, for my partner to have and to hold in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. And I've been seeing a lot of people saying like, oh, you need to teach men how to love you. You need to tell men what to do. Do you know how humiliating it is to ask someone to remember to get you presents for Christmas? After you have a home together, after you have children together, after you're raising girls together?
What?
One of the things that I love about the Yuletide season is how you can always count on modern women to weigh in on subjects that have absolutely nothing to do with them and is frankly none of their business. They love to take these clips that are blatantly taken out of context to try to make themselves look like a victim, even though those videos have literally nothing to do with them. They even want to steal the magic of a holiday season, which in my opinion is more about how people get together and just for a few days accept each other for being human and just have a couple of days of peace. But no, we can't have that anymore, because modern housewives aren't getting 100% of the recognition 100% of the time. And it's like I always say, if you only have 99% of the public support, then you are 100% marginalized. I mean, that's the logic of the modern woman, especially when it comes to Christmas. And I find it absolutely telling that this woman is complaining about presents. Even when she's trying to fight the patriarchy, it's always about her getting material possessions.
Huge reason that marriage and long-term relationships with men look so undesirable is because it's so thankless. You can give him children, you can give him the most magical holiday experiences where the room is filled, everybody's wearing matching pajamas, everybody got exactly what they wanted, and then you just have to sit there watching everybody make a mess and feel excited while you open nothing and then probably clean up everything afterwards. It took him 10 years to notice that his wife's stocking was always empty. There's so many women in the comments being like, yeah, this is a universal experience. This has been happening to me since I've been married, since I've had kids. And I just want to say that that's not okay.
Well, what did the police say?
Well, if there's one thing you can always count on with a modern woman is how she will take internet comments as gospel. Just because some women went on a video and said that it's happened to them, then all of a sudden it becomes a universal experience where Western housewives are constantly being forgotten by their husbands on Christmas. They always have this idealized vision of what everything should look like, and essentially it's them being celebrated for every single thing that they do while being able to freely shame the men who actually provide something for them. And when that doesn't happen, they always envision this Norman Rockwell scenario where everyone's dressed up in matching pajamas and the wife is just sitting there there with their mouth shut as her husband ruined yet another holiday. And then they go ahead and they add this statement like, well, she probably had to clean up afterwards. Like, you're not basing this off of any facts, woman. You're just going ahead and making blind assumptions just to make yourself feel as bad as humanly possible. And all of this could be avoided if you just recognize the fact that your husband actually does plenty of stuff for Christmas. But by doing so, you would then deny yourself the greatest Christmas present of all, and that is being a victim on the holidays.
Being a mother is so dehumanizing because everybody just takes and takes and takes, and nobody wonders what you want, what you think, what you feel, you know what I mean? Like, nobody is doing for mothers what mothers do for everybody else. My friend who's a mom came over to my house and I made her dinner, and she said, wow, I don't remember the last time somebody cooked for me. I bawled my eyes out that night. And until partnerships and marriage and long-term relationships with men look more equal, look more thoughtful, look more considerate, I think more women are going to continue opting out of marriage and opting out of relationships with men.
Sounds good to me.
You know, I can't vouch for anyone else, but I, for one, am totally fine with modern women opting out of marriage. I mean, why should you give that man the opportunity to be screwed over by the Western divorce court system? I mean, come on, woman, you don't even know what you're talking about. How on earth is a marriage supposed to look more equitable in your eyes? Because every single thing that you mention has absolutely nothing to do with equality, and everything with you looking like a winner at the expense of ignoring everything that the husband does for the family. Generally speaking, a man works his fingers to the bone for his family. And he knows better than to ask for recognition because it's his job. Asking for that kind of recognition would be incredibly selfish and actually deters from the point of what he does. And it kind of reminds me of a Christmas song that was sung by the immortal Tom Servo when he said, Christmas comes just once a year, so for a few days, for crying out loud,
can we all just get along?
These like badass like working moms who create all the magic of Christmas. They like plan all the presents for the kids. They're doing all this like totally unacknowledged like emotional labor on top of like working really hard, more than full time.
Yes.
And their husband doesn't have to lift a finger to make Christmas happen. He just gets to be a kid and wake up to, what did Santa bring on Christmas morning?
Yeah, he doesn't even know what the kids are getting.
He's not even involved in that. It's like you can't spend an hour getting stuff for your wife's stocking to thank her for everything that she does all year. It's just like, I feel like it just is so symbolic. You know, the way that we've like created this structure in which like men can just act like fucking babies and do the bare minimum and like act like doing any sort of like semi-domestic task is just like absolutely crippling to them.
I am genuinely curious as to how these women just make the blind assumption that husbands do absolutely nothing for Christmas. Fathers are spending as much time as they can with their kids since they're working all the time. They are also doing the deadly work of going on the roofs of their house to set up Christmas lights. They're going and buying the tree and getting it set up. And I also think it's safe to wager that these men are also not just sitting around wondering what Santa got the kids for Christmas, because they're actually out there spending their Christmas money on buying presents for their children. But none of that ever seems to count. The standards have been left intentionally ambiguous so that no matter what a man does for his family on the holiday season, it can always be considered the bare minimum. It's just a blind assumption that these feminist podcasters make in order to make themselves feel more important than they actually are. And it's attitudes like this that really suck all of the fun out of Christmas. I mean, I'm not kidding. Who needs Ebenezer Scrooge when you got broads like this?
And so then women will just take it on because it's like, well, it's easier for me. They get stuck in this cycle where they like have their moms wiping their ass, and then they go to like having their wife wiping their ass. And that's racist! And it's like, it makes me so grossed out.
And especially this time of year where it's like, okay, it's the presents. It's also though, who is sending out the Christmas cards? Who is making sure that the daycare teachers are getting gifts? Literally yesterday, my group chat of all my girlfriends, everyone's freaking out because it's, you know, it's like one of the last weeks before Christmas, and they're like, crap, what are you getting them? I don't know what to get them. We're like giving each other ideas. And I'm like, which men in my life are doing this right now? Which men in their group chats are freaking out with their other guy friends about what they're going to get the daycare teachers?
None of them.
None of them. Literally none of them. And it's like, and at the end of the day, it's hard because my husband's amazing. I have a lot of friends who have really amazing husbands. And
Liar! Liar! Liar!
they're great partners. They're great dads. Like, they do so many good things. And it's like, even those men, you know, there's still this like missing part of it where there's just this certain thing that it's like it doesn't even cross their mind. Like it's like this is the shit that I am thinking about when I go to sleep after I've been editing photos till 1 a.m. and I'm now thinking about, oh shit, I need to go get gifts tomorrow in my 0 time during the day.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
Well, the reason why it's not crossing their men's mind is because most of us don't really think about sending out Christmas cards or buying gifts for daycare teachers. Most men are just focused on the holidays for the family, and the outliers, if there's time and if there's money, then sure, they might be able to get something, but it's not really a top priority for the holidays. And it's attitudes like that that just set men up for failure regardless. I mean, you said it yourself. You've got an amazing husband who does so many things right, but he's still a screw up because he doesn't think about sending a holiday card to the daycare teacher. And you're acting like this is the end of the world, like, oh, men are terrible because they don't do this, but what could be the worst possible consequence of the daycare teacher not getting a holiday gift from you? I'll tell you what the consequence is. It's you thinking that this person is thinking less of you because they didn't get something for Christmas. So it's not about him helping you so much as it is him doing this thing so you can assume that other people are thinking highly of you. And I hate to break it to you, sister, but nobody gives a crap.
You're the one who's like clocking all of this and like just always having this like mental calendar of like things that need to get done. Most husbands just live in like blissful ignorance.
Or how many wives are the only people in their families that, or like girlfriends, whatever, that do like the gift giving for even their partner's family. You can be like, okay, well, like I just won't do it, but then it won't get done.
And it reflects badly on you.
Exactly.
It's like that's the fucked up thing is that like people are gonna see it more as a reflection of you than your husband.
Exactly, always.
Who are you talking at?
Well, if that's the case, sweetheart, allow me to set your mind at ease. You're taking on this arduous mental toll and literally losing sleep over nothing. You're just blindly assuming that all husbands everywhere do absolutely nothing during the holiday season, when in reality, those men are going through hell. Ask any working husband and he'll tell you that working during the holidays sucks. Everyone's stressed out, everyone's miserable, and everyone is getting their balls broken by not only their bosses, but also their wives. And he's working himself stupid to ensure that you and the kids have a nice Christmas. But it's awfully convenient how you can just throw all of that out the window just because your fifis get hurt every once in a while. Fifis that are far too sensitive and completely unnecessary in today's day and age. So maybe instead of chewing your husband out over everything that he doesn't do, you should actually take a second to recognize the things that he is doing and the sacrifices that he is making and give him the greatest Christmas present of all and just shut up for a couple of days. Because let me tell you, sister, a modern wife who's willing to close her mouth for a couple of days, that is the gift that just keeps on giving. And before signing off today, I want to take a second to just wish every single one of you a happy holiday, however you define it this season. The greatest thing about the holiday season is how everyone can get together for a couple of days and just kind of enjoy life and the peacefulness of everything before we go back to hating each other in the next year. So thanks for checking out today's video, gentlemen and gents. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel, leave some comments, share this video, and ring the notification bell so we can give a good old-fashioned Christmas-themed middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Happy holidays to you and yours, gentlemen and gents, and until next time, peace out, homies.